Today I am joined with fellow Aussie Roland Snooks, progressive architect, who is not only a lecturer at RMIT, but also director of Studio Roland Snooks and co-founder of CODE1110. Roland, I am such a huge fan of yours. Is it alright if I call you Roland? So, this is your first public appearance since 2012. How do you feel about it? So how would you describe to the audience what your style of architecture is?
I would say my work is very experimental and founded on the concept of self-organizing behavior. I created a self-organizational algorithm which I frequently adapt in all of my work that reflects a sort of organic form. My work is heavily intertwined with computers, as traditional construction methods could no longer create what I wanted. There is an irony in that to arrive at something organic with an organic form that mimics biology, we must use something that many would consider to be inorganic. And by restricting the human input, I'm actually increasing my own through the algorithm. My company, Kakuja, which I founded with Robert Stewart Smith, as well as my other studio, Roland Snooks, are my two studios which are closely intertwined. They not only show my work, but what we are working on at the moment in terms of our direction for the future and experimental research we have conducted.
Wow. So how would you use this self-organizing algorithm to make these incredible iconic works? What is the process from manipulating it from the original algorithm to creating an actual structure?
So I work a lot with computers. I use that original self-organizational algorithm and encode that into 3D printers or robots that carry out that code for me. My original algorithm is founded on the idea of swarm intelligence and the idea of behavior and how individual components, whether it be objects or lines, can be used to create complex structures. So each of my works are created via a two-part design process. Firstly, I adapt the original algorithm that is inscribed with the design process, obviously, and then robotic fabrication does the rest physically, creating the encoded structure. So fundamentally, my work explores spatial self-organization, emergent tectonics, and the relationship between robotic and algorithmic behavior.
So as you said previously, your work reflects an organic and natural form or shape. And I know you like to form your work before developing really a location of where to put it. So in this situation, would you call yourself a post-architect, as your work focuses on appearance rather than practicability? And if so, have you ever sacrificed pragmatism for appearance?
Yes, I believe my work does mimic nature. Very astute observation there, Grace. However, the position of my work in a certain environment is not central to me, as I like to rather focus on experimentation and non-traditional forms of creating structures, rather than creating something purely to take practicability. I find that sometimes this can limit what you create.
So where does this inspiration for creating non-traditional structures come from? And why do you focus on progressive architecture? Did you have anyone in the architecture realm in which we know of who was a great influence on you?
I would say one of the most influential people for computational design specifically would be Greg Lynn. I've always looked at him as a father figure.
Yeah, I'm sure a lot of people would agree with you on that one. So you mentioned before in your 2013 interview, 2012
Yes, I did.
interview, that the discourse on architecture is important as students are designing buildings generally within 10 years after graduating. You said it was vocational. Would you still support that statement? And if so, what would your advice be to students today?
Yes, I believe what students are taught in class is important, as this information and skill set is what they're going to be using throughout their career. when directing their process in the architectural world. However, it is important to note that no matter what information students are told, the way it is taught will differ. This is why teaching is so important, as the way a student's mind starts to imagine, think, or apply their knowledge from class, it is directly related to how the teacher taught the information. So I believe teaching should also be a form of research, another environment where ideas are tested. And this is why I continue to teach at RMIT, because I believe the way in which the education is taught about architecture is so important, especially today.
Yes, you are one of the leading architects in the way of progressive design.
Oh, thank you.
And you do have quite a large following on Instagram. However, though, I could not find anything about you online, nothing about your family, where you graduated, nothing. You're quite a private person, aren't you? So, my final question today is, and you don't have to answer on camera, that's totally fine, but how old are you?